Well, I started the series and I've got to see it through to the end now. So far, we've looked at all the adventurer land and air vehicles. Now we have all 9 water vehicles. Kicking off the list, we have a lonely rowboat. It's always nice to have that dinghy piece, but there's really nothing special about it in this set. It's the same double bench design as all the pirate sets used, plus a random chain. None of the characters even have any interest in it in any of the pictures it's in. Cover, instructions, back of instructions. They did include steps for an alternate build, which was swapping out the back bench piece for a ginormous motor, but that still didn't attract any passengers. Floating in next is Adventurer's Raft. Unsurprisingly, this is the only appearance of a boat in the desert sub-theme. I'm not sure what's going on with Johnny and the changed scorpion. Is he rescuing it? Dragging it? I don't know, but that's what the instructions instruct, and who am I to argue? 7 is a rowboat on steroids. This boat piece is similar to the dinghy, but is actually a larger mold, more commonly used in the LEGO fan favorite Belleville theme. I appreciate the look they were going for, but it doesn't quite work. It seems the designers didn't have enough time or pieces at their disposal, so they started a project for later that was accidentally put into a set prematurely. Helmed by Gabaros and passengered by Senor Palomar. Coming in next, we have a little set that included a figure and a dinosaur. LEGO characters are usually given witty little names like Harry Kane, Sam Sinister, Achu, which I'm sure the ancient Aztecs would have found hilarious, or Maximiliano. Well, here we have Mike. Just Mike. Anyway, this set gets extra points just because of its originality. It's an airboat, but they called it a hydrofoil, which isn't even a thing. I don't think. One second. Let's all go to the line. Okay, so a hydrofoil is a thing, but it's not this. This is an airboat. These are hydrofoils. Also, extra points for the super in-depth, albeit somewhat hard to follow comic book it came with. So here we have Mike getting some fresh air in his hydrofoil. He goes down some water and thinks about tying up the Baron. Then we see the Baron, who's taking his own scoot further down the river. He bonks a pteranodon who is diving in for an attack in a dastardly move of self-defense. Mike drives through crocodiles, then Mike hears a noise. This picture would suggest he's pulling the pteranodon back down, but I think he's supposed to be freeing it? Even the background stegosaurus is confused. The pteranodon gives Mike a hug, as dinosaurs do, and then he goes back to driving his hydrofoil and thinking about the Baron. He drives some more, he ventures into the forest and gets caught, says some mean things to the Baron, who makes a trailer out of not Lego pieces, and dips. Meanwhile, the pteranodon is thinking about that tasty little morsel he hugged earlier. He finds Mike, tries to eat him, but misses, and then Mike goes all how to train your dinosaur on him, and bada bing, bada boom. Now pteranodon is Mike's transportation. We get a random shot of Johnny fixing up his plane, and then Mike talks to pteranodon about the Baron being tied up. The end. I think the rest might be continued in the other sets, so if you want the rest of this riveting storyline, you'll have to collect them all. Next, we have another simple floater. I was going to put this a lot lower until I built it, which is why I like building the sets before ranking them. Although the raft itself is very minimal, there's so much story going on here. Max is on this little raft with all the supplies a guy could ask for. He's definitely planning on double-crossing his boss / the main villain after they reach the treasure. And just look at this mean figure. Sure, the Baron has a bloody scar on his head, but this guy does too. Plus, his little mouth is so adorably pissed off about it. Black Johnny Thunder hat, double revolvers tucked into his pants, and are you kidding me with that hairy chest? This guy is a maximum villain. Well, that's the whole set, and you're only supposed to be ranking the boat parts, I hear you say. And it's interesting you should say that. Anyway, number 4 is a meh boat from a meh set. It's great at first glance because of the size, but then you remember that it's not about the size of the boat. The deck is large enough to fit all the dinosaur figures that were around in the year 2000, but aside from that, it's fairly uninspired. I almost put it lower down, but there is something to be said for the boat that encourages reenactments from the end of the Lost World, which brings up the violence factor in this theme again. Watch with me, if you will, a commercial for the Dino Island sub-theme.
Hey, Rex, how can you tell the good humans from the bad ones? The good ones taste better.
You're set for adventure. And make his gang extend.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, just some dinosaurs talking about eating people. And they literally eat and swallow one. But it's a bad guy, so funny joke. And not to mention the fact that they know the difference between good and bad humans, implying they've eaten both. I guess that explains why Harry Kane wasn't in any of the Dino Island sets. He was eaten by one of these dinosaurs. The adventure's theme was intense. No wonder the Baron stopped smiling by the end of it. Third place goes to Jungle River. I believe this is what they were going for with a very similar boat from the Amazon Ruin set, although this one feels much more like an oily old African queen type boat. It would have been much better to stick with the oversized Belleville boat piece since the windows here are completely blocked by the smokestack and the fire stack. I think the combination of these vessels would render the perfect boat. Space to move around and see out the front, but still all the necessary grimy engine parts and outdated controls. Good luck in that croc-infested water. Speaking of old, dirty, smoky boats, let's hear it for this barely afloat contraption. This one fully encapsulates the feel of a loud, greasy death trap of a boat, which ironically is the only thing keeping its occupants away from a deadly river filled with snakes, crocodiles, and probably like leeches and stuff. I don't know. I really love this simple yet effective design, and I'd love to see an updated version of it. It's not overly complicated. It's got the bare necessities: a helm, a couple of levers, a panel of gauges, some essential and probably oftenly used tools, even a water dispenser if you dare to use it. The doctor would. He doesn't care. He's got his little red mug filled to the brim with parasite jungle water, and he's enjoying it. Even the blasé way the sexton is placed precariously on the top of the railing shows the lack of care the owner has towards things. Speaking of which, we have our favorite bad attitude helmsman again, Gabaros, transporting the good guys this time, suggesting that he isn't on one of the teams but merely has some kind of boat service near the area of treasure that Johnny currently has eyes on. Plus, in place of the usual firearm that the adventurers are known for, he just has a wrench tucked into his pants and an oil-stained pirate shirt under a rag tied around his neck. He wasn't even included in the character page in the LEGO Media magazine. Did LEGO even know this guy was here? I could go on about this set for a while, but I'll stop. Everyone can see for themselves how the sagging chains, the black string, the thick hull, and the short walls all lend to the idea that this boat has been kept afloat for long past its expiration date, with some small tools and strong prayers. Okay, moving on to the last entry. Because we don't even have to get into how it has a removable top deck, allowing for access to a table with a cup and a skull on it, because how metal is that? And now, here we have number 1, the beautiful Emperor's ship, complete with Sam Sinister, 2 guards, and not the Emperor. I had some trouble deciding on a number 1. I clearly have some love for the previous boat ever since I got it brand new as a wee lad, so it had a lot of nostalgia going for it. I got this ship just for this video, and it's just gorgeous. I love the red and tan colors, the figs are great, the Belleville oars work perfectly with it. It's even got a hidden lower deck. I don't want to be so narrow-minded to say the sail is the tiebreaker, but the sail is the tiebreaker. It's got an awesome print, a really unique shape, and I'm really surprised I was able to nab one 19 years after its release in such good condition. The clean and fancy look of it is a great contrast to all the previous jungle clunkers. No gas gauges, smokestacks, or greasy tools on this one, just the clean power of wind as long as there's wind. They're quite common, but I always love using these lanterns. They're so old-fashioned and mysterious looking. This is another one that would look great if it was upscaled to a full-size ship, but this one still does the job. So, in conclusion, I don't know. Those are the boats. What do you want me to say? Go on, eat the British guy. Oi, governor, this is a spot of trouble I've gotten myself into now, isn't it?